Usually we start earlier, but okay, we gave just 2-3 minutes. So thanks everyone for joining today. Fernando from Mexico, we just saw us, is going to talk about designing. I think there's a spelling mistake I have on this Power BI presentation. So sorry about that. I just noticed it. Designing an income statement in Power BI. I was just talking to Fernando before you guys came online that I'm working on something, one of my clients, where I think this is going to be super helpful. From numbers to narratives. Pretty cool title. Awesome. Thanks, Fernando. Um, I'm not going to talk much about, again, Parvinder. I'm organizer along with Sandeep for this Vancouver Fabric and Power BI user group. Power BI, again, consultant, all Power Fabric, Power BI, you just name it. And that's what I do. And Sandeep is, he's a guru already. Is Sandeep, who are you?
I'm a guy here in Portland. Yes, I've been with the Power BI community for some time now, and I've been doing this with per. I think this is our ninth session per. So 9 months. I can't believe that. Yeah. So it's been few months. And Fernando here, our good friend here, I said it on LinkedIn, but I don't remember last session I presented. So I've been presenting for 4, 5, 6 years now, maybe more than that. And I don't remember the last session I presented where Fernando wasn't there, soaking it all in, be it me or somebody else presenting. So I can't attend a session if Fernando is not there. So I miss him a lot if he's not there. So I'm really glad that we have Fernando here presenting and attending and joining the session as a presenter here. So Fernando, I can't really wait to learn from you.
Awesome. And thanks, Sandeep. So just quickly, we will record this session and put it on the link as soon as it's ready. And please keep yourself muted. But unmute. I think Fernando will be happy to answer any question. It's okay to be interrupted. Yeah.
Yes, sure, of course.
Yeah, and if you're putting your question in the chat, please prefix with Q so that we know it's in the question. All yours, Fernando. I'm going to stop sharing and take over.
And thank you very much. Did you see my screen correctly, no?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Sandeep and Parv, for hosting me here in your user group. I'm a big fan, and this is an interesting session that when I discussed with Sandeep a couple of months ago, he suggested me to do this because normally in this group they go very technical, and this has a different approach, no? Because still some technical aspects, but talking about finance, and then also design. And I can tell you, I tell you, I am not a designer, and I understand, and there are several rules and theory that it's very interesting, and we are just going to touch some of it based on my point of view. So let's start. Let me see, how can I change pages? There you go. So abstract. We are going to review how to build a semantic model with financial information. That's the first step. Then we are going to see how to build the main DAX measures to analyze the report an income statement. And finally, we'll dive into user interface or user experience design to present it in an appealing way to the final user. And this is interesting because there is this dichotomy sometimes that people are either architects or designers. And to do both, it's a little bit difficult. And I made an attempt in this case. So let's see how it goes. Let me introduce myself a little bit more in detail. My name is Fernando. I live in Puebla, Mexico, near an active volcano, its name is Popocatépetl, and it's active all the time. Sometimes quiet, but then once in a while, not so. It's challenging. I changed careers from finance and controlling to data. I like exercising, keep fit and healthy, and I like cooking. And I like Power BI. That was my first approach to change careers. But now with Fabric, I started working with it, and it's fascinating. And Power Addict also, I built a long time ago a couple of Power Apps, which were very interesting, but now not so much. Here's my LinkedIn, and you can click here. I will post it later there in the chat. Also, you can contact me, connect with me, and ask me any questions. And this is my new social, Blue Sky. I just deleted my ex account. And I have a feedback form that I will post in the chat also, the link, because it's very helpful for me if you provide feedback for my session. Okay, let me talk about references and links. Let me go to zoom in. First, we have Chris Barber with Power BI, the income statement. Then we have building an income statement in Power BI end-to-end by Rishi Sapra. Then Bob Duffy, financial statements with Power BI, and he presented in SQL Bits. This is really very full, complex solution. It's very interesting. Then Learn Data Insights for the finance analyst. This is a site that Rishi has, and he offers even a full course of how to build financial statements with Power BI. Elena, Power BI meets user experience design, accessible insights. So she is the new design queen. And also Anne Leimer, I just discovered her and now I follow her. I had a chance to chat with her. Power BI dashboard design tips and tricks. Valerie Junk, also Power BI designed for accessibility. Mara Pereira, design versus function, striking the right balance in Power BI report design. So this is just a sample of all the information that the community provides, and it's super important and helpful. And I strongly recommend that you check this and many others that are there. No? So next, this is a poll. I'd like you to participate, please. If you can take your phone and answer this question. From these two options, what do you consider yourself best at? A Power BI architect or a report and dashboard designer? So let's see. Let's wait a little bit. If you can grab your phones. So this is working. Let me answer also. So we have 33%, well, 43% designers. Okay, nice. Architect 29, none 14, or new, and both 14. That's excellent. So we have designers here. I'm feeling pressured. Nice. So let's move on. And this other question and final one. What's your level of Power BI? Beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert. Answer also.
I'm like confused. I want to say expert, but I think I can't be expert. So I'm going to keep it advanced.
I don't say I'm an expert in anything.
Yes. Sandeep can answer that question, expert. So
I did expert just to mess with the poll.
I know. I knew you were going to do that.
Hey, so we don't have beginners and intermediate, most of us, and advanced and experts. Excellent. So let's continue. So what are the premises for this session? This approach uses only core visuals from Power BI, because as you may know, there are other third-party tools and solutions and products that help you to build financial statements, like InfoRiver, for example, and they have a different approach because it's like a self-service income statement. But in this case, you control everything and you don't have to use a third-party tool. The next premise is that we want to get rid of the multiple Excel files and have one source of truth, because we don't want to continue working with Excel files, even if most people have done that forever and it's very easy, but you don't have the one source of truth, which is very important. The next important topic is that we also want to have an automated process that will run without a human intervention. And that's for the accountants in the accounting departments in companies, that's just like day and night, or like getting their life back, because every month, the close of the month, they work until the morning, the next day, and those hours are unbelievable. The next premise is that from the many ways to build a P&L in Power BI, this is only one of those. And this is my approach, and this work in progress, lots of improvements possible. And I would encourage you to tell me, what do you see that I can improve? And then this is not a workshop types of session with step-by-step guidance. It's an overview, because we wouldn't have the time, no? We could have one workshop, a full day, how to build this financial statement. Okay, so let's start with architecture. We receive the data source in a format like this. So in this case, we have date type columns like year, month name, month number, but we also have a date column. So we could get rid of all these because we don't need them. And we keep date. We also have a business line or business unit. Okay, we have the amount. And then let me move to the right. We have expense subgroup, revenue or expense group, and a revenue or expense. So we could see that these three columns are part of the chart of accounts. And so this is one of the many ways that we can receive information. So let's continue. What do we need to build? This. We need to build a star schema. And here we have our general ledger. In this case, it's called like this. We have dimension tables, in this case, business units or business lines, and the chart of accounts. And then here, well, of course, I have my calendar table, and I have this strange table that I will explain in a minute. This is financial statements lines. So we need from here to get this. And then the financial statements lines table, so the FS lines table, is nothing else that a table that includes every row in the P&L, profit and loss, and every row in the P&L that you want to show in the Power BI report. And then it's here below, and it's a little bit complicated if you see it for the first time. But let me give you this level 1. This could be the titles that we want to show in the Power BI report. We want revenue, total revenue, cost of revenue, total cost of revenue. We want a blank space to improve the visual, how we can read the report. And then we have a gross profit, which is the subtraction of total revenue minus total cost of revenue. And then we have a margin, which is a percentage. And then on the right, you see in the calculation type column that the regular accounts, for example, sales, have a calculation type of FS line total, which means nothing but whatever amount it's there. Total revenue, for example, has a different calculation type. It's a running total because we just need to sum whatever is above. And then you see, for example, this type of accounts all have FS line total calculation type. And then cost of revenue or cost of goods, it's a category total. Then if you see this blank has a blank because we cannot leave blank spaces in our table, so we write the letter, the word blank, and then so on. So this is a little bit complicated, but I have good news for you. This is a simplified version. So this is much nicer, no? So we have here an order column, and this is the header. Sorry, this is the header. And so you understand now that this is the way you want to present the report, having revenue, net revenue, then cost of revenue, then gross profit, then the percentage, gross margin, then the operating expenses, then the operating income and the margin, then other income net, then the EBIT, and then interest and tax, and finally net income and net income margin. We have here also the calculation types. We have detail. And what do we mean with detail? In revenue, we do want detail. But in net revenue, we don't need detail. This is more clear when we talk about operating expenses, for example. In operating expenses, we want detail because we have several different type of operating expenses, sales, administration, etc. But in operating income, we don't want detail. We just want that value. The same for a percentage, etc. So this is the detail. And here, highlight. We want to highlight, for example, net revenue, gross profit, operating income, EBIT, and net income. And what do I mean with highlight? Let me show you an example. And why not P&L for Microsoft? And then be careful. So first, highlight means just this, no? This is highlighted. But second, have you seen this? This is in millions. For 2024, $245 billion. So this is a big company, no? And look at the profitability. $88 billion net income. Okay, well, this is a financial an income statement, and you now see what's highlighted, and so what do you want to show? Moving on. Building the semantic model, we need dimension tables, and the first one is business line. And then here, let me zoom in a little bit. I did this in data flow. So we have here the business line query. And as you see here on the right, I'm in the source step. And in the source step, I have exactly the file that I showed you. We have year, month, month's name, number, date, business line, amount, exactly the same file. And then applying these steps, and what are the steps? Well, we are not going to go in detail. But then I removed some columns, trimmed, cleaned, removed duplicates, added an index, reordered, and did some cleaning. And we got this. This is the business line table. We have a business line ID. We have the business line. And I added a business line abbreviated because nutrition and food supplements is too long. And if we go to the right, so starting from that Excel file, we just made these transformations to have the business line table. So that's one dimension table. Are there any questions so far?
Not as such. I think we're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
So next dimension table is the chart of accounts. And then if you see, well, I didn't put here the source, but the source is the same Excel file. And I just have here the chart of accounts as a result of these transformations. Some other transformations, removed other columns, kept up rows, trimmed, added, renamed. And so what we have here is an account ID. And then the account subgroup, I just changed the name. Account group, for example, rent, equipment, marketing, it's operating expense. And then we have classification, which was there already, revenue or expense. OPEX, COGS, interest is expense, and sales, consulting, services, other income is revenue. And then I added this section, profit and loss, because another section could be balance sheet. And then I added this header assignment because for me, it's important that even other income is classified as revenue in the P&L should be below, because as its name says, it's not part of the core business of the company. So we need to report it below the operation. And so I have this header assignment. And then I have here the account group abbreviated. That's it. No? Okay. Next, the FS lines table. In this case, I'm showing here the source. I didn't perform any transformations because I built this in Excel. And this is just the table I showed you with the order, header, calc type, detail, and highlight. So I just brought it from Excel. And finally, the fact table. In this case, I start from the same source. And as you can see, it's the same Excel file with year, month, date, business line, amount, exactly the same. And the transformations are different. So I did some renaming, trimming, cleaning, inserting, merged column. I made a column from expense of group, and revenue. And then I brought business line. I brought chart of accounts. And then the result of this is this fact table, which has a date, an amount, the business line ID, and the account ID. And this all came from that Excel file. Parf. Yes.
Just quick question. So you said you're using data flow. I think I just want to everyone know. So data flow is pretty much Power Query in Power BI service, right?
Yes.
And so are you storing these files in like SharePoint in some common, or it's on your computer, or like you get these files, like what's your where you're storing these files so that you can consume in data flow?
Yes, normally in a normal operation, you will receive these files every month or so. Yes, so then you need to make a plan where to store them. In this case, this is just an exercise. I just have it in OneDrive, for example. But yes, that's one important part that you need to define. Where are they going to be saved and updated? Yes, in this case, I don't have that problem.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
But yes, it's a very good point that it's in the real life. It's a very important and point to consider. Okay, so now we have our star schema, because we have our general ledger and our dimensions, which is our date table, business line, chart of accounts, and the FS lines. And the FS lines, I made the relationship with the chart of accounts, as you see here. Then junk dimensions, I built, or I created this units table. And what is it? We have a unit, none, thousands, and millions, and formatting. And the formatting here is just plain, the same for thousands, and for millions is just with one decimal. We have currency in the case that we have multi-currency, but in this case only dollars. And a multiplier. For none is 1, for thousands is 1,000, and for millions is 1 million, and a sort order column. This is very easy. Next, we have another junk dimension, which is period selection. And this is very easy too. What we have, I did it in DAX with month to date, quarter to date, and year to date. And these are tables that don't have any relationship with the model. and you will see how we are going to use them. So we start with DAX measures and the main ones. The first one is total actuals. And then what is total actuals? It's very easy. We are just taking our fact table and sum the amount. That's it. But we divide that value by the units multiplier and by default by 1. But then what was the unit multiplier? We go back. And the units multiplier was 1. Or if it's thousands, 1,000. So we are dividing the amount by the multiplier that we choose. And you will see here, I'm using the DAX measure total actuals here. And then I use the card in this case. In the filters pane, I am using none. So my value is this, 4,314,120. But then, if I choose thousands, the value goes to 4,314 automatically. There are several other procedures how to accomplish this, but this I find it very nice and easy. And then finally, if you go to millions, then it's for millions. Of course, you need to include context, and then here you have to say these are millions. Okay, and then we go to the next measure, which is total actuals by period. And then if we see the measure, I'm taking total actuals here, the previous one, but then I'm having a variable with the selected period, and then this is taking the junk dimension, the period selection, or default month to date. And then here, what you do is just add a button to your report with this junk dimension period selection, and then the user selects month to date or whatever they want, and then you just go to calculate the total actuals measure that we have with dates month to date or this intelligence time intelligence functions from DAX. And then this is the core for the P&L. Any questions? No?
So
Okay.
are you, sorry, Fernando, I have one question quickly here. So
Sure.
do you think the formatting of decimals and all stuff, you are also, because you have different decimal places, depending on what you're looking at the values in the millions, then maybe you have a zero decimal. If you're looking in 100,000, maybe you have a 2. And if you're looking in otherwise, you might have none. So are you using the format string you gave in that junk dimension, also known as disconnected tables?
Yes.
In the dynamic formatting, how you're, I know you showed like you divide it by 1 or 1,000 or by million, but also you have a format string there. How you're using that format string in your to visualize the data?
Yes. I'm just using the plain format string, and
Okay.
So I don't complicate that part because I have worked with that, and also of a sudden I add a chart, a bar chart, for example, and that adds the label and the number goes crazy. So I just kept this as simple as possible.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about design now. So these are some templates, and here I found them in the Power BI community forum templates. And this is in absolute no way to make fun of anything, because been there, done that. And who haven't done this in a lot of years ago? This beautiful tree map, or tree, how it's called, but I did it, and it was just fun to make. And but no one understands anything. If you see this, you don't know the comparison between the categories. And then the Excel file, no? Don't take my Excel file from me, and if you change and give me a Power BI report, then put an Excel table there, or donut charts, or pie charts with a lot of categories, or clutter. So then here we start to think, what do we do? So how do I make a nice design? And then that's tough. Well, here's my point of view. Know your audience. That's extremely important. Understand the requirements. Sometimes it's important to spend the majority of the time understanding the requirements than building anything else. Plan what you have to show and how, in the most concise, insightful, and appealing manner. And this is interesting because even when you have already all the information, you need to select what you have to show to whom. Do research, follow best practices, see what suits your goal. Go back to the references that I provided, or the ones you have. And so for me, design, I need to learn. I need to see what's there and try to adapt it to me in the best I can, because that's not easy. But then, color theme inspiration. In this case, this was a challenge to present a report, a Power BI report, and it was a fitness company. So then I did this. I went to Adobe Stock and found this image, and I liked it a lot. It's a very nice image and shows fitness, and I have tried to adapt it to my color theme. And because what colors did you choose? I don't know, but then I chose these colors. And it's interesting how to organize the colors, because you need to be careful to not overwhelm the user with many colors. But this I liked a lot. Then this is a quick tip how to customize the current theme. You go to View, and then here below you go to Customize Current Theme. And what you see is are several options. For example, here you see name and colors. You give it a name and update your theme, and you change this manually. So there are several tools, and you can change text, visuals, page, etc. There are several tools that modify the JSON file, and Kurt Buller just made a video recently on that topic, and it's very interesting. But if you are willing to start like me and want to make one report you can use this quick tip and customize your current theme very easily. Then the professional tools, Adobe Color is fabulous. You have this color wheel, and you also have extract theme. You paste your image, and it tells you the colors, and it also helps you with gradients and accessibility. It's a very great tool. I use it every time I build a report now. And then the final result. Well, I came up with this thing. And you may notice some colors that resemble the image I showed you, like here. And I didn't use too many colors. I tried to keep one color, which is the main color, or I don't know how to call it, this main color, and this version. And then, so what do we have? We have the title, which is clearly stating what we are looking at, the income statement of this year to date. Why? Because we have these buttons that I mentioned, and it's selected year to date, and this is live. You can just click quarter to date or month to date if you want to see month to date figures. And this already, if I am the finance director or the controller or the CFO, this is incredible because it's already the P&L that we saw at the beginning from Microsoft as an example, but this is live, and this is answering our questions. So we have here the main KPIs. What are those? It's revenue. And total revenue is this value. But it's also giving us gross profit and gross profit margin, as it says here. The gross profit absolute amount is 9.9 million. And as percentage of revenue is 59.6. And we have visual indicators. This is the new card visual, which I love, giving us with symbols and colors, and the plus here, or minus, well, this is not a minus, I will tell you, telling us this is a parenthesis, this was negative. We understand what's going on. We have net income, and we have the operating expense ratio. In this case, it's positive, but red because it's going up, and the operating expense when it goes up, it's bad. That's why it's here red. So what else we have? We have help icons that gives us some explanation. We have also on the right, revenue by business line, which is nutrition, food supplements, sports equipment, and sportswear. And we have this breakdown of the main indicator, revenue, and the other KPIs that we are interested in. I will continue talking a little bit about the visuals and then go back to the numbers. Here we have the P&L because this is an accountant type of report. If this weren't a challenge that I built, maybe I could have put this visual in another page. But in this case, if you are the CFO, you would be jumping of happiness looking at this because the accountants look at this and they spend hours just with this. So they do this. and that's it. That's what they spend their time. But there are other people in the organization that say, well, explain to me, no? Talk to me. One thing that it's important here is that we have the net revenue, we have gross profit, which is the subtraction, we have gross margin, which is a percentage, everything in the same column. And this is result of our FS lines table. And we can go to operating expenses and go to drill through, go to detail. And then here we see that we have equipment, marketing, all the detail that we would like to see. And we also have some indicators that I'm going to go back in a second. By the way, I'm not very happy with that second page. With this first page, I'm happy. Here in the center, we have a waterfall, and it's interesting to see these values in a visual way. And we can just see the amounts. And below, we have net income by month and the average. And we have highlighted the maximum and the minimum, and it's here. But then why net income? Well, you choose revenue, and then we see revenue by month, or whatever you choose. No, the interaction is there, and it's answering us all the questions that we can have. And on the right, we have here again income by business unit, and we have one line dividing positives and negatives. And when I clicked here in operating expenses, it changes also to operating expenses. So we see the amounts and some other details. And below we have the operating expense ratio. And what is it? It's the percentage of operating expenses of total revenue. And here we have a target of 30%. And then this business unit is going far beyond the target, which is not good. And then going back to the numbers, here we see that the net income for this business unit is negative, which we see it here also, but this in numbers, this in charts, and then we might know that there is a problem with the nutrition and food supplements business unit, and where we know that gross profit is positive, but operating income is negative. So we might have a problem in operating expenses. And as we can see here, 78% of percentage of revenue compared to 29 or 26 as percentage of revenue is completely high. And so we can understand in this example, these are just fictitious data, what's going on, and completely take actions. So what do you think so far?
That looks pretty cool, though. That's awesome. So I guess there's a question from Alan. Would Fernando mind sharing a copy of this report and the PowerPoint slide with links to references?
Of course, absolutely. I will put it in my GitHub and send it to Parth and Sandeep. So you will have it there. The PBIX and the PowerPoint, of course, sure.
Perfect. Awesome. Aurora, I also have one question for you. Accounting works with financial year that does not start in January. Is your report considering financial year or calendar year?
In this case, it's just calendar year, yes. Fiscal year in this example is not considered. But yes, this you can add more complex to this exercise for sure. In this case, it's just calendar table.
Yeah.
Calendar year.
I think, let me add a bit here, Aurora, for you, because the time intelligence functions, which Fernando showed in his example, like dates QTD, dates MTD, dates YTD, those functions use calendar table as by default. But those time intelligence functions, there are 44. I remember because I have many videos on time intelligence functions. So if you have any other calendar or fiscal year outside the calendar year, you can really you have to rewrite your DAX. You can't use like dates QTD, dates MTD the same way as if you have a calendar from January 1st to December 31st. So, but I guess this is a pretty common scenario where the companies have different fiscal years and tons of blogs and videos around there. But those time intelligence functions, except a few of those, like if you're using total YTD, you can tell when my financial year is ending, and it will work based on that. But not all time intelligence functions allows you to do that. So you have to work around those things.
Right. Helen, I see you are asking about these icons.
Yes, that's right. Something like that. What are those? Did you?
Yes, this is very useful, and I don't have my Power BI desktop open. Let me quickly open it, and I will show you. Header icons. Those are the header icons.
Are you sharing the screen, Fernando?
No.
I think
One second. Okay, I'm back. These header icons, because sometimes when you see reports and then you hover over even the title, for example, here, you start looking at a lot of icons that they are just disturbing. For example, here I just have one. Here I have 4, but sometimes all of them appear. And then let me see. I need to stop sharing quickly. Okay, finally. And then when you select visual, you go to format on the right, and then you go to properties. And then you see header icons. One good tip is to just turn them off, because what you have here is all these icons. Visual information, visual warning, a lot of icons that you have to be careful if you need them or not. In this case, I kept filter, because you click here, you hover here, and then you see that period selection is year to date and year is 23. But normally, even that you don't need, because you have it here above. but then go back, and then in this case, I enabled or clicked help tooltip on, and then magically this help tooltip appears with text, and then you just type some text to help the user. So this is nice, no?
Yeah, I normally don't have that to help tooltip on, so I had never seen that. I have seen lots of other junk header icons.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
That's
then,
pretty cool though.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, that
Stay
was nice.
curious, keep learning. And that's it. What time is it?
You just bang on, man. I wish I can follow the same pattern. When I start talking, I just don't stop. So my
I
problem
made a
is
mistake here because this is, even if it's a bad image, Vancouver, Washington. Sorry.
No, but anyhow, I just want to share the live feedback here. So pretty cool. No, I mean, this was amazing presentation, Fernando. I learned a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure when we will share this recording for this today's session, and people will. I think the best thing I like the simplicity and so focused, and the way you present it. I need to learn that. When I present, I just go all over the place. I love your presentation. This is awesome. Well done.
Well, I try to keep it really simple and give the basics, no?
Yeah,
Because this is could be complicated if you really have an ERP. How do you receive the information? But you get the idea.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
You know what it reminds me? People say on LinkedIn or all social media, learn Fabric in 4 hours. Become an expert. Become a Fabric expert. Join my
build an income statement in 5 minutes.
AI.
Find it rather than I'm like, who are these people? I wish I'm such a good learner that I can learn Fabric in 1 day, or they're so smart, they do something to me, to my brain, that I all of a sudden know everything. So your presentation was right bang on, very simple, very focused, and just target what you want to address. So I think next time when I see a post on LinkedIn, becoming a Fabric expert in 4 hours, I'm going to share the link to this video. You can only touch the surface in 1 hour,
yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And forget about all the complexity and rest of the stuff. I'm not sure, Sandeep, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, no, exactly. I was joking there. It's nice to see the report design, and then it's nice to see all the Power BI related stuff for a change. I think it's been probably a year and a half since I designed a Power BI report. I haven't touched a semantic model. I don't do that very often these days. So it's good to see that. It's also good to see the new KPI card, all the other options. I didn't know that. So I keep, when I used to design reports and create reports, I used to have, it was one of my, I guess, checklist items to always have the headers like that, because it really definitely provides more context. In fact, sometimes I felt, I don't know if they have it dynamic now, if you can make it dynamic so that if you, depending on the context, if you can change the help tooltip or not, that would be cool. But I didn't know that you could turn off all those things now. That is very nice. So love the presentation, Fernando. I as War said, I learned a lot too. I wonder if there is a way to, I'm sure we can do that if we edit the theme file. But I wonder if you can change it for the entire report. I'm sure we can edit the theme file to do that, and then maybe selectively turn it off on for some of the visuals. But don't know if there is a way to do that.
For the header icons?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
See there. No.
Okay.
It's
Well, that's a challenge.
unfortunately-
I'm sure we can do that with Python. So if we were to take this JSON file, right? So if you were to take the JSON file and find the right
I see.
metadata, right, and then turn it off and then upload it back, then we'll probably be able to do that, right? And then
Here you go. Next blog post from Sandeep on Fabric Guru.
That's the next generation PNL building in Power BI. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The
So this-
point is that this is a first step and manual step, and then
Yeah.
to do it in a more parameterized way, yes, it can take more time.
Sandeep,
Yep.
this
Yeah.
weekend you're not working on this, just to let you know. No, it's a yeah. I wish there was a way dynamically you can tell which video, right? So it's very painful if anybody has seen today, like you can turn on and off visual headers. Maybe some people never explore that. They're like, it's always there.
No, so
You have to
the use
manually do it.
case would be, so the use case, at least in my mind, would be, let's say you have, so you had some profit and loss there, right? And you had a KPI where you hover over the card or the maybe the table or anything, and then you see, okay, help tooltip, and the profit is this. What in a report like this, what I've done in the past, I used to work at an insurance company where their measures were super complicated, right? It was very context dependent. Like we even had a wiki, internal wiki, just to explain what one measure is, like in natural language. If you could have something like that dynamic, like with DAX info, right? We can get list of all the measures and then show for this visual, it's using this measure and the measure definition is this and this. Then you can hover over it, and now not only you get the definition or the English text that you are getting, but then the measures that are being used or any additional info that you're adding and all that kind of stuff. So as a user, I would know that, okay, the profit is being calculated with like this. I would find that useful, at least in the context that where I designed it for my previous client. So dynamic in that sense.
Basically, we're expecting something coming out of you, or you will be posting a question on LinkedIn somewhere, telling Microsoft to improve on this, one way or another. So,
But in general, it does seem like the number of visuals and the quality of visuals has improved, right? Since a year and a half. Okay.
Yes, and by the way, you have still time to go to the Power BI Database Championship, World Championship.
Right. Yep.
And submit a report for tomorrow at 9 Pacific time to be able to participate in one trip to FAFCON in March, April.
are you participating
There
in
you
that,
go.
Fernando?
I started late, but I'm going to work late tonight and early in the morning and submit all the other 3 weeks. Yes. So let's see.
Well, wish you all
Awesome.
the best. Hopefully you win, and then so we can meet in person in Vegas.
Well, that
Yes.
would be amazing, but I don't think so.
No, you can't say that.
You never know.
People love the design you showed. Like everybody in
Yeah,
the chat
exactly.
just talked about the colors and simplicity, and I think no, we're gonna see you there. Let's put it this way.
Let's see. Let's see.
So
Thank you very much both of you and everyone who participated and attended for your time. And it was my pleasure to show you this. And I will contact Sandeep and Parv later this week to give them the GitHub repo where this will be saved.
Yep.
In the meantime, anybody has any questions, please let us know. And if not, then thanks for joining, and looking forward to all of you guys in the next meetup, which we have a surprise for that, right? We don't know what that is going to look like. So I'm not sharing the presentation yet.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
I can imagine.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Good night.
Bye.